It was a crisp, quiet morning in the countryside, where little Mia woke up early, like she did every day. The rooster's crow had already filled the air, and the sun was just beginning to rise over the hills. Mia could hear the soft rustle of the wind outside, carrying the smell of dew and earth. She yawned and stretched, her small feet sliding out from under the woolen blanket. She remembered that today wasn't a school day. With her family living in a small cottage, Mia knew there was no time to waste. Although she was very young, she already knew her responsibilities when she is off school. She quickly put on her worn, faded slippers and walked outside. As she stepped outside, her mom was already in the garden, tending to the plants that grew between the stones of the garden wall. Her little brother was playing with the cat. She knew she had to begin her tasks. Mia's first task of the day was to feed the chickens. She carefully carried a small pail of grain to the chicken coop. The chickens clucked excitedly as they scrambled for their food, and Mia giggled, feeling their warm feathers brush against her fingers. Then she went over to the rabbit, who was kept in a small cage, and greeted her with a playful nudge. Mia offered the rabbit a handful of small carrots. The rabbit, named Ez, chewed happily, her large brown eyes full of trust. Mia smiled, knowing that this was the way they lived. It wasn't easy, but she was too young to understand much. After the animals were fed, Mia reasoned that her mom would be tired after gardening, so she cleaned the house. Her cleaning was not up to scratch, but her mother really appreciated Mia's eagerness. She had taught her from a young age to work around the house and to make easy meals when she was away. Her hands were still small, but she had learned to work alongside her mother. After cleaning to the best of her ability, Mia joined her mom in the garden. There was something about being outside, feeling the earth between her fingers, that made her feel connected to the world. Her mother smiled at her, a soft and tired smile, but one that Mia knew meant pride. Mia often treasured places surrounding their garden. She would often wander down to the nearby brook, where the water was clear and the sound of the current was soothing. Here, she would let her imagination take her away and talk to the birds, imagining they could hear her. With a stick in her hand, she would try to make little boats from leaves and twigs, setting them afloat on the water and watching them drift away. She wondered about the croaking frogs, if they understood each other. Sometimes she would sit quietly, listening to the soft rustling of the trees, feeling the warmth of the sun on her skin. It was in these moments that Mia could dream of bigger things, a world far beyond the hills, where she could visit one day with her new school friend, Tina. As the day drew to a close, Mia's father arrived from work, looking tired and worn out. Her family gathered around the table for dinner. These were treasured moments. She enjoyed listening to his father talk about what happened at his seasonal job at the farm nearby. Mia would narrate to him her day's achievements with excitement. The room was warm from the fire, the walls of the cottage flickering with the orange light of the flames. The food was simple, just soup made from the vegetables in the garden and some hard bread with cheese. Mia always knew that this simple meal, shared with the people she loved, was the most important part of her life. And though their lives were simple and often difficult, there was a quiet joy in knowing they were together. And that, for now, was enough. The world outside might be tough, but Mia's family was closely knit together. Even in the hardest of times, there is always room for love, for work, and for hope. As the stars filled the night sky, Mia lay in bed, her young body tired but her mind awake. She thought about the day she had just lived, how she helped with the house chores, fed the animals, played with her brother and other children in her community, and spent time with her family. She thought of all the smiling faces in her community, including the grumpy ones. It was part of her chapters. She closed her eyes, holding tight her handmade doll. The sounds of the night, crickets chirping, and the soft rustling of the wind, soothing her to sleep. Tomorrow would be school. She couldn't wait to tell Tina what she did, but tonight, Mia drifted off peacefully. knowing that no matter what happened, she was part of something much bigger than just the countryside. She was part of a story, her story.